Welcome to A Slice of Therapy. This podcast was created with Anchor. And if you've not heard of Anchor, let me explain. It's free. It's a really easy way to make a podcast. And it helps me because I can just do this every day directly into my phone, because there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. So if you fancy making a podcast too, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. If you're one of those people who are interested in time travel and enjoy those kind of sci-fi films where the main character kind of time travels between one age to another, it might interest you to know that even without the sci-fi and even without the special gadgets and the technological advancements, the future impacts the present. Now, it's a strange idea, isn't it? Because we often think of the past impacting the present, that what happened 10 minutes ago changes what happens now. But just as often, perhaps even more often, the future, that thing that hasn't even happened yet, is changing the now. If I've got a bus to catch in 10 minutes' time, I'm going to be leaving the house round about now. Not because of something that's happened in the past, but something that is happening in the future. That in 10 minutes' time, a bus is going to arrive at the bus stop at the top of my street. So I best go now in order to get there. Without the sci-fi, the future was nonetheless impacting the present, which is really weird, isn't it, when you think about it? And yet it's true. Whenever we make any intention for the future, it starts to impact the present. We might decide, for instance, that we enter ourselves into maybe a running event, like a 5K or a 10K or something similar, or maybe even just a fun run. And then here we are in this moment, jogging around the streets, simply because in the future we've decided that we're going to be running in that event. And so that future us starts to change the us that lives in the now. The very fact that in however many weeks' time we're going to be running in that race has impacted us to the extent that we're jogging our way through the streets in this moment, not because of the past, but very much because of the future. When people do that exercise that I'm sure you've seen in many books and self-help courses, that idea where you're giving yourself your own eulogy at the end of your life, those people who actually decide to follow that through and say, actually, yes, that is what I want people to say about me. That is what I want to look back at my life and see. They start changing in the now to try and match that future intention. When we set a goal for ourselves, or an aim or a direction of travel or some intention for ourselves, even though that's in the future, it's changing our behaviour in the now. And so it's an interesting concept because often we think of ourselves as in the control of a past that we can't change. And yet when we look at it, the future is just as influential as the past is. In fact, arguably more so in terms of what happens next. And so if it feels disempowering to feel under the control of a past that we can't change, how wonderful that we've got this other option. A future that we can actually shape. And our intent for that future that we can shape can have just as much influence, if not more so, than the past that we can't. So I'm curious, knowing this and realising this truth, that the future, without any weird sci-fi, actually changes our present, impacts our present, changes our behaviour in the now. Now that you're aware of that, I'm curious about what difference that makes in your life. What is the future that you're going to shape and design that ensures that you're doing things differently in the here and now? Who do you want to be in the future? And what influence does that have? What is the consequence of being that person in the future to how you behave now? What is the impact of that intent for tomorrow or next year or 10 years down the line or 20 years down the line? How does that 20 years down the line change how you act now, how you think now, how you look at the world now? And so it's a powerful thing to know that the future has such an impact on the now. And so now that you know that, if you didn't already, then I wonder what difference that will make to you. What decisions you'll make for tomorrow that will change the way you live today. So if you'd like to work with me one-on-one, my name's Alun Parry. You can find me at liverpoolpsychotherapy.co.uk. If you find this useful, please share it with others so they can get the benefit too. You can subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and you can even watch them as videos at sliceoftherapy.com. So thanks very much for listening, and I'll be back tomorrow with another one.